Michael Creef, welcome back.
I don't know why you just said my full name like that, but okay.
Hey, look, I want the people to know who you are. But for those listening, I'm a Meka Naka, and
I'm Michael Creef. You already said my name.
and
The giggles that you hear
are some of our favorite guests. We've got Ellen Ochoa students back here in the studio, and like to introduce them.
This would be a perfect place for like an applause button.
But we are joined today by Giovanni, Georgia, SJ, and Aria. Did I get that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Everybody was quiet for a second.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
So, Mike, it's been a while since we've been.
Don't kick the table. That was me who just did that.
Okay. Mike, it's been a while since we been in the studio. What's been up?
It has been a while. Well, yes, it is now 2023. We are 1 year older, a few more gray hairs in our beards.
For some of us, a little bit more than a few, but
yeah. But yeah, no, things are good, man. I think the last time we were on a podcast together was probably like 6 or 7 months ago. A lot has happened since then professionally. A lot of job opportunities, creative opportunities to do photography, video stuff, traveled to do photography and video stuff, covering a lot of events, this and that.
Same for me, a lot of opportunities speaking and traveling. I passed my counseling exam, but I think that we are going to have a lot of time for us to kind of get into what we are doing. I think
today's not about us.
Today is not about us. Today is about these special people that we have here. So
who keep giggling. He keep giggling.
So Mike, can you tell me a little bit about what we're doing today? Or
it's kind of a loaded question.
Or I could tell a little bit about what we're doing today. Yeah. So over at Ellen Ochoa here in Tulsa, we have somewhat of a partnership with a great teacher. We're gonna give a shout out to Mr. Derek Frey, who was also in the building. That'd been a good spot for a thing.
Jesse's horn.
But we have exceptionally some great students that are here that are trying to learn a little bit about what we do and how we do it.
They've got their own podcast at their. Is it considered elementary school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so they've got their own podcast at an elementary school, and so for some reason they think that we're good at this, and so they wanted to come hear from us, but we're here hanging out with you all and learning from y'all.
But yeah, I think that part is the important part. I think the fun part is that we bring you guys in here for you guys to learn from us, but we actually are trying to learn a little bit from you guys. So I know that you guys came to somewhat interview us, but I've got some questions that I wanted to ask you guys as well. And so I don't know who wants to go first. Do y'all want to interview? Y'all want to get y'all questions out for us, and then I'll save my question for the end. So who wants to go first on your side?
I had a question for Mike.
Oh gosh, okay.
What got you into doing photos?
Yeah, photos and videos and stuff like that. Yeah. That is a great question because, if you do something as a job, like if you go do something every day for like 8 hours a day or something, anything like that, you want to hope that it's something that you want to do and not something that you're forced to do. And so luckily I'm at a point in life where I'm doing something that I want to do for a long time, probably when I was even your age. I've always loved like looking at photos and videos. I love like National Geographic and like the Discovery Channel and stuff like that. I was always a super big nerd when I was little, and even now I'm still a nerd. And so just looking at the photos and videos from like on different shows or magazines or things like that, I've always wanted to be able to do that myself. And so really, I've always had that desire. And then once the pandemic happened and we're all sitting at home by ourselves, I was like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and buy a camera and just start taking photos. So I started like during the pandemic when we were all sitting at home. So all my photos are like of my dog just in the house. And then it kind of grew from there to now I can do it. I get to travel and go take photos for people across, the country and different things like that. So yeah, I was just finding something that I enjoyed doing and then getting lucky enough to now get paid to do it. So that's kind of the dream.
Yeah.
And And then I also have one for Meka. So the doctors told you couldn't do football, right?
Yes.
Okay, how did that make you feel like when they said that?
Man, it was a very terrible feeling because kind of to allude to what Mike was saying as far as like doing something that you love to do and being lucky to do that and, hopefully get paid to do it. I was doing that with football, and after I got hurt, not being able to do that felt like my world had just turned upside down, and I didn't know what I would do after that. But luckily for me, I surrounded myself with some friends, and there were people around that were able to keep me motivated and keep me inspired to keep searching for other things that I enjoy doing. And so, working with young people like yourselves, and I found, I lost my walk, but I gained my talk, and now I'm able to do that and fortunately get paid to do that. So love being able to use my gifts and be paid.
Lost your walk and gained your talk. I've never heard him say that before, y'all. That is a first, and that's for you all. Or something else.
And then Georgia?
Great questions.
So I also have a question for Meka. So like you said, people were motivating you. Like, who motivated you, like mentally and physically, through all of the pain?
Oh, good question. Good question. So I am someone that gleans motivation from a lot of different places. I think if I go back to the hardest time that when things were really, really difficult, it really was like when I got involved in working with kids. Because to tell you the truth, around the time where I met Mike, we were both serving at a youth group, and at that time I did not have any idea what my future would look like, and it was really hard to get up in the morning and just live. But then I got to talking to some people that were pretty much like your age, and they were asking questions, and they were very interested in my life. And that is the first time after my injury where I felt like my life wasn't over. And so young people really gave me that boost of like, okay, there's still something left to give in this life. And from that perspective, I just started to try to improve myself mentally, physically, and spiritually.
Because y'all are much cooler than older people.
Very much.
Like,
very
that's
much
why
so.
we liked hanging out with the
Yeah,
young people.
like you said, I don't have gray hairs.
Exactly. Exactly right. The more gray hairs you get, the less cool you become.
Yeah. I actually have a question for Jesse, too.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Jesse to the stage.
so, what made you, like, want to become and, like, work with all of the tech stuff?
So I was always like a tech person.
Yes, Jesse's also a nerd.
Yeah, I'm also a nerd. Hardcore, like old school. Well, no, I'd say like second generation old school nerd. We always had computers in my house. I was always interested in why things worked. And even though in my working life I wasn't necessarily doing tech jobs, I was always like the tech person where I worked. And when I finally had to sort of make a job for myself, I wanted a technology piece to it. And at the time, I just loved podcasts. And so I just learned how to do this all on my own, from reading things and watching things and talking to people. And most importantly, experimenting and doing it. Easiest way to learn is by doing. So we've learned so much. There's that thing. I've learned so much just like working with these two on how to do this type of production. So yeah, I've always been interested in technology. I feel like technology is supposed to make our lives easier, and I get really angry when it doesn't. So I spend a lot of time yelling at technology things, which I would not suggest because they don't hear or feel yet. So don't kick those Boston Dynamic robots. They're coming for us. Anyway.
You're a producer?
I'm a producer, yeah. There's also a podcast I host myself. I enjoy talking, but I also enjoy listening to other people talk. It is strange, though, because I've always been sort of an extrovert who likes people, and I chose a career where I'm in a room by myself listening to other people talk. So, life takes you in weird places.
Yeah.
I'm going to vanish.
Great question.
Let me add that something that you guys have heard kind of in all of our questions or all of our answers is that a lot of our successes come from a lot of trial and error. And so one thing, as you guys are as young as you are, remember that it's okay to not know something. Keep at it. If there's something that you want, keep trying. And if failure is not failure, it's just, finding out how not to do something. And so, yeah, I've watched these guys grow, seen myself grow, and we have fallen down a couple different times and just keep getting back up.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
Cool story, bro.
I got it. So, Mike, you have what are you, a writer or something?
I am. So with my photography and videography, I also am a writer. So I work for a media outlet, and I write articles, go out, interview people. Because our team is a little bit smaller, while I'm writing, I'm also sometimes the one there who's taking the photos and making the videos. I really enjoy photos and video stuff, like I said earlier, a lot more than just writing, because I think it's much more interesting I'd rather watch a 5-minute video on Giovanni about how cool you are rather than read a 3-minute article about how cool you are, right? To me, it's a little bit cooler to see different shots of you. Maybe you're out shooting hoops or something like that, different B-roll footage of that, rather than just read an article with no pictures or anything like that. So I do it all, but I like the photo and video stuff much more.
Yeah, what inspired you to do that?
I've always liked talking and communicating. I've always been kind of a good communicator, somebody who I was on a lot of sports teams and stuff growing up. And on those teams, I was typically the captain or a leader, the really vocal one on the team, right? Somebody who was kind of letting people know, this is kind of what needs to be done. And so just having good communication skills kind of just carried over into my adult life. It's okay, how can I use these communication skills that I have to make money? And so, yeah, that's how I got started with a media outlet. I mean, kind of the same thing with Meka as well, just the communication skills that we had growing up. It's okay, as an adult, finding those things that you're good at and that you enjoy, finding a way to, turn that into a career and a job and make you money.
So y'all heard us talk about making money. I don't want y'all to think that it's all about making money, because it is not.
Yeah.
But as you get into it, as you become adults,
The
bills got to get paid.
Yeah.
That was really great at the same time.
So now you guys kind of gotten a little bit from where we
Hold on,
sit.
Arya's still back here. Arya, do you have a question for us? Our producer, Arya.
I was going to give her a shout out.
So my first question is for Mike, and it's kind of like Giovanni, but what is the one thing that inspired you to be a journalist?
I will take the mic back.
I'm not gonna-
Great question. Inspired me to be a journalist. I think it's really, I enjoy telling other people's stories. So kind of like Jesse said earlier, how he kind of just sits back and listens to people talk, or even the role that you're in right now, Arya, as the producer. I really enjoy kind of behind the scenes, taking photos of other people or videos of other people or telling their story in whatever way works best. I enjoy seeing other people basically find their dreams, right? So if someone has if there's a small business owner who has a small donut shop, but they don't get really that much attention, in my mind, it's okay, what can I do to help bring some visibility to this person, or how can I help get their story out? And so that's what I enjoy doing, and a lot of times it causes me to be behind the scenes where, I'm the one controlling the switcher, kind of like how you are, anything like that, or something like that. But yeah, I enjoy telling other people's stories and helping get their goals and dreams out there. So great question. I'm gonna give you the mic back.
Okay. My next question is for Jesse, and it is, how do you find the most inspiring people for the podcast?
How do I find the most inspiring people?
Yeah.
I mean, I truly look for, look at the camera. I truly look for people who I find interesting and who are doing good things. most of those people are by nature going to be interesting to talk to. So I really just look to see what's happening in my community, look for people who are just passionately working on something they care about and just want to hear more from them, because I feed off of other people's passion. So like if someone's passionate about something, I'm going to become passionate about it. So I use that in the hope that listeners to said podcast will also be inspired by that passion and that energy to do good.
Yeah, it's a good question, Arya.
Which brings us to the name of his podcast, Pod for Good. So you guys have been able to ask us questions. As we wrap, I want to get some questions from you guys, or some answers from you guys from where you guys sit. So I will ask Giovanni first. What does it mean? Because you guys are doing this podcast thing. So what does it mean for you to share your voice or to use your voice?
Ooh, to like inspire someone or something.
Yeah. There it is.
Motivate someone.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
That is a good answer. Do you guys, or Georgia, SJ, do you want to motivate people?
Yeah.
Why?
Because, you know, like some people have like cloudy days, like you said, when the last year podcast. Yeah. Anyways. So, but like everybody needs to get the motivation to get to the start so they can get to the finish.
Okay, solid.
It's inspirational.
Yeah, that was very much. I wish
Did
we
you
had
say
a button
everybody has
for-
cloudy days?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah. And you never know who is having a cloudy day, right? So like maybe you're the person that kind of brings that sunshine, or just gives them that, like, sometimes people just need like a little kick, right? Just a little nudge in the right direction. So you never know if you're, nudging somebody who's having a cloudy day.
Yeah.
Give them the motivation.
Yep.
Like bring them to the start and let them go to the finish.
Exactly. Yeah.
SJ, what inspired you to want to do this podcasting thing?
I like how Georgia said, like, to bring people from their start to their finish. But, like, I think it's more of, like, even if, like, they don't feel like somebody's there for them, but there's always somebody there for them, even if they don't feel like that way. Like, when they're having a cloudy day, like, there's maybe, like, one or two people that can make them have, instead of a cloudy day, make them have a sunny day. So, like, just change, like, their whole day around.
That's cool. You guys are cool. What inspires you to do what you're doing right now?
What inspired me was like, on the internet, a lot of people, they like do inspiring things for other people, and so that inspired me to help other people. Although I'm like behind the scenes, it still helps other people like Georgia, Giovanni, and SJ, so I can help them be who they want to be.
I'm about to wrap this thing. So I was going to say earlier is that, you guys heard us talk about what we do, why we do it, and
For the money.
it is not just about the money, but if there's anything that you'll see in me or Mike or Jesse, like, there is impact, and we really enjoy making a difference in other people's lives for the better, in any form that we can do that. And so with this whole setup, with podcasting, with speaking, with writing, these are all different forms of using our voices to bring people together, to highlight issues, to make people feel good, to help people remember that the sun is still out when the cloud is covering it. And we look forward to seeing you guys, use your voice and shine your light. So with that being said, if anyone has any closing words, if not, we can wrap this thing up. Go for it.
Keep your head up.
Keep your head
Don't
up. I
ever
like
give
it.
up. Don't give up. Chase your dream. Don't give up on chasing it. And
The impossible is always possible.
Oh, fire.
Let's go. Let's hear it.
Mike.
Best quote you got.
So when like I said, with the start and the finish, like you want to motivate somebody to the finish, but not only are you motivating them, you're creating an impact on them, because that's making a change for them, like in their mind. You know what I mean? And so once they get to that finish, that might be somebody else's start. You know, maybe one day they'll be like in the front or something. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
That's great. That's good.
Oh man, that's
Y'all all left it.
real
Look,
good.
that's a perfect way to close out is with a bunch of inspirational quotes.
Thank you guys for joining
Yeah.
us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
Yeah.
We'll
And
do
then when
this
y'all
again.
invite Mr. Meka to come speak on your podcast, you better invite Mr. Mike this time as well.
Okay.
And with
playing
that,
serious.
it's a wrap.
Good job, everybody. Well done.